Oh look, it's been less than a year since Nike came out with the Metcon 6s, so like clockwork, they have to release a new shoe. Well, these ones.
Now, did Nike pull a Noble and just keep the shoe design the same and throw in some words at the bottom of the sole?
Nope, the Metcon 7 is a redesign.
In this video, we're gonna compare the differences between the Nike Metcon 6s and 7s on paper, and then we're gonna work out with them for a bit and give you guys the final verdict on the shoe.
So if this is the first time you're watching one of our videos, Monty, what should they do? They should hit subscribe and the notification bell. We are an unsponsored channel. We do unsponsored content. We are doing this because we're reviewers, not influencers, which is the way that video reviews should be done. Now, before we talk about the inside of the shoe, I do want to point out that the heel at the Metcon 7s is wildly different than any other Metcon shoe that I've used to date, which includes the Metcons 1s to 6s. Now, every Metcon up until now kind of had a heel that looked like this. Well, the ones didn't. And they're very, very solid, but it's just one piece. Whereas on the 7s, there's kind of like this space that I can kind of see the camera through. So it's very, very rigid. It kind of keeps the same design, but it's wildly different in that sense. There's kind of no give. It's very, very hard, which is kind of neat.
So, Aaron and I decided to gather all the data from the 7s and compare them against the 6s on paper and in the gym, to see if you should upgrade your cross-training shoes or if you should save your money and just stick to the 6s. All the data we collected for this video was done on a women's size 7.5 for both the Metcon 7s and 6s. But even though they're the same shoe size, they don't share the same measurements. For the Metcon 7s, Nike decided to give our feet a bit more space by making the length, heel width, and toe box larger than the 6s. Not by a crazy amount, but still, that could potentially make a world of difference for your feet. When it comes to weight, the Metcon 6s are heavier than the 7s, but only by a gram. The sole of these shoes both have a rubber tread, but the 7s look a lot grippier and have a lot more texture to them along the entire length of the shoe. The rubber tread on the 7s also wraps a little higher along both sides of the midfoot, which will give you a better grip when doing rope climbs. Now, we mentioned before that we noticed some important differences, and these are all on the inside of the shoe. The first one is the fact that Nike decided to get rid of the Hyperlift. These shoes no longer come with an extra 7mm you can just throw in to give you some more height when weightlifting. The Metcon 7s have a rubber piece along the outside that says Hyperlift on it, but from our measurements, that extra height is definitely only on the outside of the shoe. That brings us to one of the most important differences, which is the drop. The Metcon 6s have a heel thickness of 27 and ball of foot thickness of 12, giving them a drop of 15mm. And the Metcon 7s have a heel thickness of 17 and a ball of foot thickness of 8, giving them a very small drop at 9mm. That's a little disappointing. We also noticed that the insole is extremely thin and kind of squishy. If you've watched any of our previous shoe videos, you know that a soft insole is going to absorb some of your power when weightlifting instead of transferring it through your body. The Metcon 6s have a ball of foot hardness of 40 duros and a heel hardness of 51 duros. And the new Metcon 7s have a ball of foot hardness of 38.5 and heel hardness of 37.5 duros. Also kind of disappointing, but hey, they've added this really cool shoelace lock on the front of the shoe, so I think that means the laces on the 7 will definitely stay tied. And the last difference is the breathability of these shoes. They are both made of a mesh material, but the 7s are visibly a tighter knit, which means they won't allow as much airflow and your feet might get super sweaty during workouts.
Also, there's a bunch of numbers on this shoe. It's like Nike is explaining to us why the shoe is so great, because it's all printed on the inside of the insole on the left shoe. Do you have the left one?
Oh, it is. Okay, 1 is a squat.
For the squat.
Perfect. 2 is an 800-meter run. That's very specific.
Not just running. 800 meter. Where's number 2?
Jeez. Oh, 2's at the front.
2's at the front.
So just 800-meter run, nothing less, nothing more. Number 3. Don't ruin it. 3 is handstand push-ups. 4 is climbs. 5 is grip. Do you have 5? I don't have 5. 6 is stability. 7 is comfort. Back here. 8 is lace.
This is pretty great.
It actually works. No, 9 is vent. Now I'm confused with, oh no, 6 is here and 9 is here. I can't read.
Oh God.
And 10 is durability.
Now that's a lot of marketing fluff. Now this kind of thin insole shoe design is kind of a step away from what they've done before, because all the other Metcons had really thick insoles. Like there's a big difference. So the thickness difference is actually in the actual heel of the shoe, which for me, I get bothered by that because you can't replace the insoles. So usually this is the thing that goes after a while. You can easily just go to Amazon, get another pair of insoles, and you can kind of get more mileage out of your shoes, but you can't do that with these Metcon 7s because the thing that gets worn out is actually attached to the entire shoe. The Reebok Nano X1s are very, very similar like that. Super thin insole, really thick insole, just a waste of money.
Okay, so on paper, the 7s aren't looking so good. But since we're real reviewers, Aaron and I have worked out in them.
And here's what we did. We used the same cycle of exercises as we did in our Metcon 7s versus Noble video, which was 3 front squats and 6 back squats, a snatch complex of deadlifts, hang squat, snatch, and overhead squat, a clean complex of deadlifts, hang squat, clean, and a jerk, a 600-meter run, 50 double unders, 8 box jumps, 16 lunges, and 16 Cossack squats. Now we did one round with the Metcon 6 on one foot and Metcon 7 on the other, and for the second round, we switched it around. Now through our testing, we did toy around with using the Hyperlifts from the Metcon 6s with the 7s, and as we said earlier, the drop between the two shoes is quite similar, but on the 6s, you can turn them into pseudo lifters by adding the Hyperlift, which gives you an extra 5mm drop. A higher drop generally helps with getting into the hole in a squat. Now we were able to use the Hyperlifts in the 7s from the 6s without much issue, so if you're upgrading from your older Metcons that come with Hyperlifts, don't throw away the Hyperlifts, keep them. These things are awesome. I use them in my lifters when I have to do pistols, just to add the extra 5mm. I'm not cheating.
It's actually 6mm.
6mm. So Val, after all that, what was the biggest difference between the Metcon 6s and the 7s?
You forgot to mention that it was 30 degrees outside, and when we did the testing, it was really smoky.
Yeah,
it was
pretty warm. My lungs kind of hurt. It's been rough testing these new shoes this past week. All right, differences.
So
the biggest one, big.
I think the biggest difference is just like the general fit of the shoe. The 7s feel much tighter than the 6s. And that's weird because when I measured them out, these are actually longer. Like they have a little bit more length to them. But I don't know, it's like they filled the inside. It feels like it has like padding on it almost. It's just very tight all around.
Numb toes. You go from minivan from your Nobles to like numb toes. Like it's just...
My toes literally went numb.
That's terrible. Now for me, the biggest difference between the two shoes, again, was the cushioning. And subsequently, I'll say the support. The Metcon 7s had a much softer sole than the Metcon 6s, which is kind of crazy because I'm not a big fan of the 6s when compared to the 5s because I prefer shoes that are a little more rigid, we'll say, or not as soft. The part that was most noticeable in terms of this issue was where the arch is. And so you kind of just don't have to work on your arch. You just kind of like have your feet cave in and not have to do anything, which is kind of silly. That was the biggest difference. What other differences did you encounter?
So the drop, obviously without the Hyperlift, there's gonna be a difference in drop. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I guess it's there. And then the laces. So actually running, the 6s kept coming undone and like this thing actually works. Good job, Nike.
For me, I got stuck on how tight this shoe is. It was really noticeable during the squats and it just felt like my toes couldn't move. Like I was getting kind of annoyed that I couldn't like try to splay my toes. And like the top part of the Metcon 6s, the mesh part is very, very loose. It's very pliable. And so like the differences in dimensions isn't that much, but it's the fabric that just makes it terrible. During the barbell parts, the foot that was in the Metcon 6s definitely felt better coming out of the hole. I always find with softer shoes that I get a sense that the first part of my drive just kind of gets absorbed by the shoe rather than going into the ground. So it's just kind of annoying because you got to work hard to get out of the hole. Now, as I said in the Noble comparison video, I do like the updated treads and the grip on the Metcon 7. The small fins on the front half move around a bit, and that feedback that it gives you kind of gives you more confidence when you're just like running or jumping, like it just being able to like, nope, not this one because it says CrossFit on the bottom. This one. It's just kind of neat. You guys it's really hard to explain it, but like when you're jumping on top of a box and you kind of feel like your shoes dig into the box just a little bit, it just gives you a bit more confidence so you don't skin your shin like I did on the other video that we did. The other thing that kind of annoyed me was that the Metcon 7s don't come with Hyperlifts. It says Hyperlift, but it doesn't actually do anything. It just says
It's like a piece on the outside of the shoe. Like when we measured it, it doesn't, like your foot goes way lower. Your foot's like around here.
Yeah. And basically anything related to running and jumping, the Metcon 7s felt better because they were just softer. So at the end of the day, Monty decided to make himself much more present in our video. He's sitting on the table. What's the verdict between the Metcon 7s and the 6s?
I would stay with the 6s.
Same here. These are way better shoes than the Metcon 7s, which is kind of crazy to say. Yeah, if you like to turn your feet into mummies, go with the Metcon 7s. So that's all we got for this video. Questions, comments, leave them down there. Do check out some of the other shoe comparisons that we've done. We've done full roundups for all the current crop of cross-training shoes, so do check that out. We'll link all those videos in the description section below. First time watching my videos, what can they do, Monty? You don't know?
Wait, he just closed his mouth.
What can they do, Val?
You can hit subscribe and you can hit the notification bell.
And you can get your stuff through our links, because this is an unsponsored content, because Val and I are not jacked enough or pretty enough to be offered sponsorship money.
Don't say that about Monty. He's pretty enough. Well, that's why we have Monty.
That's all we got. Thanks for watching.
Anyway.
So lots of marketing fluff. Now,
Wait, sorry. I hit myself in the face. Okay.